Hey, Don. Hey man, can you hear me on the Zoom? Oh, I know. I saw you came in twice. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Okay. So but okay. I was just checking if you could hear me because I couldn't hear you. Okay. Yeah. Um, hang on just a second. Nope. Oh, I know. I have to stop sharing. Okay, so now when I go here, oh, meeting information. How you want me to send it to you? WhatsApp? Make sure it's in here. Okay, yeah. So all the phone numbers you can use here. Okay, man, no problem. Okay, Barry.
Recording in progress.
Okay. Why did it? Yeah, I don't know why it came on just like this. No, that's the artificial intelligence kicking in. Yeah, Don Hall had joined.
Recording stopped.
Okay, I need to go to my other computer to get that stuff done. Okay, that works now, Don.
Yeah, I'm good.
All right, excellent, excellent. All right, so we'll catch up with you in a little bit then.
Okay, cool.
Okay, good. Yeah, yeah, he doesn't have internet, so so he's just going to call in on his phone.
Wait, is it 6:45 or 5:45?
It's 6:45.
Oh, so I'm too early.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. That's why I thought you were just testing to be sure you could get in.
Okay, 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 okay. All right, I'll call back.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah. Get another 40
I'm
minutes.
too early.
Yeah, yeah. Come in at 6:30
Okay,
so
cool.
we can
Sounds good.
connect. Yeah. Okay, man. Good. opportunity this evening to be together. I see, wow, um, looks like people have come in and stepped right back out for some reason. In any case, I think we're going to go ahead and get started here in just about 1 minute, just to make sure that we have all of our connections in place. Welcome and thank you so much for coming this evening. We are in for a treat. Okay, Mike, you're live now, so I'm going to turn on the phone. All right, so we are live now, and we want to thank you all for coming. We have a tremendous opportunity this evening to have our team. We have a program that's prepared for you that is designed to help you modify wherever you're at and move that knot just a little bit healthier. And if you have healthy lifestyle already, well, we're happy to learn from you as well. So thank you so much for coming. And at this time, we're going to have our introductory video, just for those of you who may be here for the first time, so that you would know who we are and why we're here.
Do you ever feel the need for more energy, vitality, and a greater sense of well-being? Then stay tuned. We are natural health enthusiasts with yet another delicious recipe of best practices in holistic lifestyle health. Our natural health planners, sponsors, presenters, and friends compile and share the simplest, most natural discoveries and practices targeted to restoring and maintaining energy, as well as a sense of well-being that we all want in our daily lives. It has been said that health is a state of complete harmony of the body, mind, and spirit. Therefore, through the practice of the 8 laws of natural health, integrated with evidence-based research, we see a world empowered by Christ's love that is passionately seeking to be its healthiest in body, mind, and soul. And that's why we're so glad you've chosen to be here. Join us each month to help us celebrate the Creator for the resources and knowledge that consistently optimize His gift of natural healing in our bodies. We thank our hosts at the All Nations Fellowship Seventh-day Adventist Church in partnership with Community Outreach Incorporated for providing this one-of-a-kind opportunity that helps us all live healthier tomorrow than we are today, every single day. And now, ladies and gentlemen, here's your Natural Health Meetup presenting team for this life-enhancing edition.
And so, welcome. It is my pleasure. My name is Dale Campbell, and we have a wonderful agenda for you this evening. Just like to put something in the chat window and ask you to respond to that. Let's see here. We have, oh my chat window went away. Let me see if I can get back to it. I have here, okay, that's not working for me. I'm having tech issues today, gentlemen, but let's see if we can try that one more time here. There we go. Wow. We do this every month, and this is the first time. Let's try this. All right, looks like it's going to work. So this link that I put in the chat window for you is just for you to be able to give us feedback. We have a wonderful team that works really hard to put these programs together, but we want to address the topics that you would like to have addressed. And so this is an opportunity for you to do that. At this time, we're going to go directly to our prayer. And we have on the line, he's not able to connect via internet this evening, but Don Hall, can you hear me okay?
I'm hearing you.
Oh, very good.
Yes. Let's pray. Heavenly Father, Lord, thank you so much for your grace and mercy. Lord, I want to thank you for such an awesome privilege where we could meet on this media, God, to tackle things of health. But I pray that as we enter into this session this evening, that you will be with us. Lord, I pray that whatever is presented this evening will be accepted and practiced, oh God, so that we can be better tomorrow than we were today. Be with us, oh Father, in your son's name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Amen. And so we have a program, and Dr. Danny Frederick is going to share with us some information to get us rolling here.
Thank you, Dale. And at some point, I'm sure you're going to give us information regarding some of the information regarding this is not, we're not doctors or physicians.
Yeah, the disclaimers, right?
Disclaimers, yeah.
Yeah. Yes, go ahead.
So let me go ahead. My name is Dr. Danaran Frederick, and I have the pleasure of being one of the moderators for our group, Natural Health Enthusiasts. And we're glad you're joining us this evening. We know some people are still on their way. I know that in our community, there was an accident on the highway on I-294. There was a truck that delivers other vehicles that turned over, and it was burning right there on the highway. So maybe some people are still on their way home, close to our community. But this evening, I want to start off with this. I teach a class called Life Skills, and this go around, we're talking about healthcare. Students today asked the question, Dr. Frederick, I'd like to know which is better. Is it better to exercise, or is it more important what we put inside? You know, I helped this student to understand that, you know, when I was growing up, I would think it's about what we put inside, what we eat, what we consume, and less about exercise. And then he talked about how there is this athlete that exercises a lot. I mean, he's in the gym almost 10 hours a day. He's a star athlete, and he goes to McDonald's and eats junk food. And he says it doesn't matter what you eat. And after studying some more with our friend, Dr. Rick, who'll be our presenter, or one of the presenters, you know, it just really solidified in my mind that there's a three-prong approach to health. Not to physical body health, which most people think about, but to health in its full capacity, the way God has expected us to maintain our health, body, mind, and spirit. And so we'll dig into that some more this evening. But I want you to understand the flow of what's going to happen. We are going to have a presentation by Dr. Rick. And then after that, we'll talk about maybe menus, you know, that we may talk about or see during our Thanksgiving and our seasonal festive holidays. After that, we're going to go ahead and have some other members of our team join us, and we'll ask some questions, share some testimonies. But then right after that break, we're going to have you, the audience, to share with us some questions that you have. When the question and answer time is over, after we pray, we'll have what is called a connections or a backyard fence kind of conversation. We call it a mixer, right? This is where the recording is over and you get to be part of the sharing, the experience of what we do on a weekly basis here at Natural Health Enthusiasts. So stay with us through the entire program. I thank you so much for being here, and I give it back to you, Dr. Michael.
All right, thank you. And so I should then share my screen and just really quickly, this is who we are, Natural Health Enthusiasts, and we are sponsored by Community Outreach, Inc. and hosted by the All Nations Fellowship Seventh-day Adventist Church. We have an incredible opportunity to live out our mission and our vision with monthly presentations of this kind. And our vision is really where we practice the 8 laws of health, integrated with science, evidence-based research, so that we can see a world that's empowered by Christ's love. Yes, and Dr. Danny just mentioned that we would be healthy in body, mind, and soul. And the disclaimer is really an important piece of what we do, because we are not prescribing or recommending anything for any particular disease or condition that you might encounter in your life or in your family. This is all purely for educational purposes. We know that these things work, but because of who we are not medical doctors. We are not authorized to make those kinds of prescriptions or even diagnose a particular disease, especially in this online environment. So please know that this is purely educational, and we're so happy to have you here tonight. You will get some additional information and ways to reach us. I'll be putting that link in our chat window in just a few moments after halfway through. And so thank you again for coming. And natural health enthusiasts, now our program will continue.
So, Dr. Rick, we wanted to ask you to come and join us. What background information can you bring up for us as you continue to share more about a full framework of health?
Okay, so good evening to everyone, and I'm glad to hear and see you. Some of you I don't see, but I'm hoping you're there listening excitedly. So what we've been trying to do, especially these last few months, is to broaden our understanding of health, right? We don't want to have a one-dimensional approach toward health, which is so prevalent these days. And so just one thing I will mention, the dimension that's getting the most noise these days is fitness. So I want to just put out there, we're not going to discuss this tonight, but you can be fit and unhealthy. Get you with that. You can be buff and not be healthy, okay? So healthy living is a balance of all the things you do. But our program tonight is really focused on the holidays. We wanted to kind of talk about holidays and how we can see, what shall I say? How can we see where holidays came from, what the origin of holidays, and really what that means, okay? So let's advance that. Okay, so the origin of holidays, and then we go to the next one. I just wanted to say that the elements that we have for holidays, and it's not every day, you know, it doesn't mean we don't do these things every day, but we have family, friends that we enjoy. We have food that is central to seemingly everything we do, and we're looking for celebration and fun. But the next slide just kind of raises an issue. Where did holidays come from? Who invented holidays? And so we want to explore that a little, because I think if you really explore that, there are some things about this topic that will perhaps surprise you and give you some insight on that that understanding. So we can go to this next one, Mike. Okay. Oh, it skipped.
Again.
Okay, let's just. Okay. So from the root word holidays, you might be surprised to learn that it came from an understanding of holy days. And this is throughout almost every culture, any place on the earth you go, but especially in the Christian Judeo ethic, that's where the word holidays grows out of. It grows out of holy days. And the first mention of a holy day in the Bible is Genesis 2, verses 1 to 3. And I'm going to just read this. This is very short. It says, so the earth, the sky, the earth, and all that filled them were finished. By the seventh day, God finished the work he had been doing, so he rested from all his work. God blessed the seventh day and made it a what? Holy day. Because on that day he rested from all his work he had done in creating the world. So there we have it. God made the first holy day or holiday, we would almost say, right? So this is an important concept because as we go forward in the slide, we'll look and see just what hangovers we have and what we do that God did, and then some things that eventually change. Okay. So in this holy day, there was rest from work. Okay. So do we still do that? When we have a holiday, do we still rest? Something like that. we at least take off work. The next one gives us a second one. Okay, we have the celebration of an event. So usually there is something that we're building this celebration around. It's President's Day, there's Christmas, there's Halloween, there's all sorts of things that people celebrate, but it's usually centered around an event. So as we saw, the first day that was created, the first holy day, was in celebration of creation. What's the next one say, Mike? Family and friends come together. So right now, this is shaping up pretty clearly to be exactly what we still do today, right? We rest from work, we got a day off, we're celebrating some event, and we have friends and family that oftentimes come together. Let's go to the next one. Food is always at the center of it, even when we're by ourselves.
You know, that's right.
We want something good to eat, right? So that's never going to be left out. Okay, the next one says, so look at this. God did his preparation just like most people the day before the holiday, right? Some people have gotten into cooking on the holidays, but most people still will do that the day before. So look at what it says here, Genesis 1:29 to 31. God says, look, I have given you all plants that have grain for seed and all the trees whose fruit have seed in them, and they will be food for you. I have given you all the green plants for food, as food for every wild animal, every bird of the air, every small crawling animal, and it happened. God looked at everything he had made, and it was very good. Evening passed and morning came. This was the sixth day. So on the sixth day, there was preparation for food. And this translation to me is not the most accurate, because there's several categories of foods, and we won't get deep into that. But There were plants, which included grain, fruit from the trees, but also that counted all the vegetables uh, that bore roots, that had roots. Only the animals, that did not bear roots that bore seed. Only the animals ate root plants. Okay, so that's interesting. So the next one is the last one here on this. The thing that's usually missing and different from our celebrations these days is God's order. And that's what we would like to kind of bring back to our celebrations these days, is a sense of God's order. He promoted health. He did things in a way that connected life, because really this day, this holy day, was a celebration of what? Of life. So everything that was done was a celebration of life. Let's go to the next one real quick. Okay, so rest from work. This is kind of a review. Sabbath, go ahead. Celebration of an event, creation, and eventually redemption. So this celebration came, friends and family together, worship and fellowship for the holy days. Food, still a central part. Look at this from Acts chapter 2, 46 and 47. The believers met together in the temple every day, and they ate together in their homes, happy to share their food with joyful hearts. They praised God and were loved by all the people. Look at that. This is an essential piece of health, not just that they ate food, not that they just met together. Look at how they did it. They involved their whole being with joyful hearts. And they were able to celebrate what God had done. Let's go quickly to the next one. God's order. This is God's order. So let's move to the next. So what has happened over the years, and for a number of reasons, which maybe we'll do a show on some other time, but we now, instead of celebrating the things that God says celebrate, we're off from work, but the culture decides when we're off work, not God's order. And the surprising things that even most Christians would be surprised that most holidays that are celebrated in our culture are pagan holidays. They have pagan roots, right? But they have roots in religion. Even Halloween, which we won't go into that, has roots in religion, right? So the difference between cultural holidays, this is one of them. We're off from work, but it's when culture decides. Next one, please. It's a celebration of an event, but the culture decides what the celebration is. Go ahead. Family and friends come together, but it's more about fun and fellowship. We're going to watch the football game, the basketball game. We're going to do things that appeal to everybody, but is not necessarily a joyful thing, right? That is a missing element from most of our celebrations. Go to the next one. Food is central. Culture decides what we eat, whether it's good or healthy, or as long as it tastes good, that's what I decide I want to do. That is a cultural decision that has very little, most of the time, to do with anything healthy. Okay, next one. the question we need to ask ourselves is, who decided that this should be this way instead of what we saw from the original? That God had an order for how we eat, when we get off work, when we celebrate, how we have joyful fellowship, and what food we eat. That is a central question. Go to the next, please. And so, just wrapping up this time, and this is just a teaser for what we're going to talk about tonight, but I just want to recommend a list of things that we can do to make our holidays still healthy and holy days. So, number one, it should be a time of recreation. Now, that's so critical because if we're still celebrating creation, then all the things we do should be doing what? Building us up, recreating our bodies, not tearing it down. So if somebody is doing things that tears their body down, that's not really a time of recreation. Go to the next, please. Okay, it should be a time of celebration. And this is critical, critical, critical. If I do not have a joyful spirit, it doesn't matter how healthy food is, it will not be good for me. Okay? If I'm spending so much time worried about this, worried about that, even good food that I eat will not bless me. I have to have a joyful spirit. Yes, good, yeah. Friends and families, fun and fellowship is sort of, if you're not used to doing this, I suggested a tiny move toward this is perhaps making your holiday time, your fellowship time, phone free. That's one thing that you can start by saying, hey, let's emphasize this for everybody to engage with one another. Go to the next, please. Food is crucial. And all I'm saying is make healthy moves. And we'll talk about that a little bit more as we go along. Go to the next, please. This is where we're headed. That everything we do in our mind and our attitude and our interactions with each other and with our food, we want to honor God. So this is a little entryway into our discussion tonight, how we can make our holidays, holy days, actually again. Okay? All right.
Okay.
Thank you, Dr. Rick. Appreciate that very much. And I look forward to hearing some comments from our audience when that time comes in. Right now, we're going to switch a little bit to something that I find as somewhat of a commercial break, right? I've invited some young people to come and ask some questions. I'm not sure if they're available right now, but whenever I think of the holidays, Dr. Rick, again, culturally, it just seems as though it has to be fun, it has to be enjoyable, it has to be festive. There must be food. And I mean, shouldn't the food be a little bit unhealthy? I don't know. But maybe there's a young person that is here that would like to ask a question as it relates to Thanksgiving and health or the season and different meals. Elena, is that you? Hi, Elena.
He's
Do you have a
muted.
question?
Hello, I do have a question about Thanksgiving. So my family and I have a tradition of just meeting up with all the cousins and just eating really good food, but sometimes it gets really unhealthy. So I was wondering what traditional dishes we can still eat, but it won't make us feel bad afterwards and have stomach issues.
Thank you, Elena.
So this is this is a sticky issue sometimes when you're talking about kind of breaking family traditions, so to speak, in a way, or changing those traditions. And what I would recommend is this. Throughout this program, we're going to make a list of a few things that you can do. Say one simple one, not drinking while you eat. That is so detrimental to why people have digestive problems. If you can make that as an initial or one of the initial changes that you make, that would do a whole lot. Another one could be just limiting how many types of foods that you eat. So if you're going to have, let's say, turkey, then you're not going to have turkey and chicken and beans, okay, which are all high protein foods. You're going to pick one of those and then have side, dishes with that. So you want to limit types of food. I think the best way to approach that, Elena, is to pick a few things that you guys can decide upon and then make those moves as you're comfortable making those moves. Just keep the progress moving forward. So you can still enjoy your food and enjoy your meal, but just keep your eye on your journey towards health.
Elena, I have a question for you. When the family gets together, is it everyone who wants to bring something brings something, or is there somewhat of a expectation that one family will bring this and another family bring this, right? Or do you have a say in what your family can bring?
Well, so usually my mom is always the one who cooks the most in the whole family. So our house is always smelling really nice.
Excellent.
So usually my mom and my aunt are the ones who are in charge because they are the oldest women. So they just leave the stuff to, well, the boys and the men leave the stuff to the women, and they're like, you guys take in charge, because usually one Thanksgiving we let my dad take care of the turkey and things didn't turn out well.
Oh,
So usually we just let either my mom make the menu and stuff, and then she'll let my other cousins know, hey, can you bring this, hey, can you bring that, and then she'll let me help out as well.
wonderful. So that means you have a say, and your family has a say in what type of foods there will be at the dinner table. Thank you so much, Elena. Is there another student that is present that wants to ask a question?
Hello, Pastor. Can you hear me?
Oh, yes. Thank you, Cameron.
Hello, Pastor Frederick.
Oh, hello there,
You
Maestra.
know who I am?
Yes, Navarro.
Yes. Yes, I am.
Oh, well, I would say one of the questions I would have is how do you personally limit and control your intake during these holiday seasons, especially for Thanksgiving?
So when you say limit our intake, are you intake of what? How much food we eat, the quantity of food, or
Yeah. Like, let's say there's like an apple pie, there's a cherry pie, there's cake. How would you decide which one to choose, or would you choose all of them?
That's a good question. Dr. Rick or anyone else from
Yeah.
our team?
Well, I think it's something that you don't want to. It's just like If I asked you, Cameron, um, have you ever fought a lion before? You,
Have
you,
I
you,
fought one?
you probably would say no, right? Well, you don't want to wait till the moment that you're facing the lion to decide what might be good to do, right?
Mhm.
So the same thing is with your holiday meal. You know the holidays are coming up. You know what usually happens. What you have to do is begin to plan ahead. So if you know, wow, there's always going to be two types of cherry pies, two apple pies, cake, and lemon meringue.
Woo!
You have to decide ahead of time. When did I say?
Ahead of time.
Ahead of time, that you're only going to give yourself one type of dessert. Okay? So, what you can do is, if you feel like you just need another one, take that and save it for tomorrow, right? You can still have it. Just begin to make the choices that prioritize being healthy instead of the things that just taste good for the moment. And I think that's a serious, serious decision that we have to make, is start planning as if our health is the priority rather than the food or whatever.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Dr. Hick. Thank you so much, Cameron, for your question.
No problem.
I'm not sure if there's anybody else from my class that's here that has a question. And so we wanna move on now to, and I'm not sure if Dale, if you have that menu, if you wanted to talk about that menu.
Oh, sure. Yes. Let's see. I am going to bring this up. Here we go, I think. Before
So
I,
let me introduce what's about to happen.
Okay.
I have a friend of mine. She does catering, and I mean a lot of catering. I love her vegetarian meatballs. I love her special K-loaf. I love her food. And so I asked her if she can share a menu of something that she would choose to prepare for the Thanksgiving or for the season. And so she was able to share some of that. And I'm not sure how Michael's coming with it, but here's one, right? She said she likes to make mashed potatoes. So this is the ingredient for the mashed potatoes. And I want us to discuss it a little bit. It says 5 pounds of potatoes, 8-ounce cream cheese, 1 cup whipping cream, half a cup of butter and a quarter cup of butter. And of course, to season, we have salt to taste and 1 head of fresh garlic, paprika as desired, right? So when I look at that, I think to myself, that sounds tasty and that sounds, well, is it healthy? Could we use some other things in place? What are your thoughts? Anyone on the team? 5 pounds potatoes, 8 ounces of cream cheese, 1 cup of whipping cream, half cup of butter, quarter cup of butter.
Well, usually potatoes get a bad rep for fattening. And you can see from that recipe, potatoes aren't what's fattening. It's what people put in the potatoes that's fattening, right? By the time you get the butter, the cream cheese, all this kind of stuff, that is adding not only calories, but also things that are going to cause digestive issues, et cetera, et cetera. So my suggestion could be, number one, there are simpler recipes out there for mashed potatoes, and you can still use the garlic and such to get a good taste. But there are also vegan, I guess you would say, substitutes or alternatives for those things that might be a tad healthier. And you would get argument from some people on that. But I think that all in all, you have to scrutinize that, because not only are you getting the butter and the cream cheese with that and other things, but you're going to get those same ingredients in multiple other food items, like the pies, the cakes. Most people are going to have all those things. So by the time you come to the end of your holiday season, boy, you find you've loaded up your body with these things.
Right.
Where a little might not kill you all the way, but by the time you have 7 or 8 items with that in it, you're going to have a problem, particularly if you have certain issues. So I think that, yeah, it'd be better to substitute some things and then also pick a simpler recipe. I know my wife fixes mashed potatoes. She doesn't put those things in there, and yet it's very tasty.
And you make a good point, right? Because the second thing on the list here is a special K loaf.
Right.
Let me give you the ingredients of that. 8 large eggs, 32-ounce cottage cheese, 3/4 cup butter melted, and 1 tablespoon of Vegeta, 1 teaspoon of garlic, and 7 3/4 cups of Special K. So you're right. There are other things that will also incorporate the butter, the egg, the cheese, and a host of other things.
Yeah.
So thank you. Thank you.
All right, so I think I got it up there now so that we can take a look at it. Let's see. Okay, here we go. I'm going to share my screen so everybody can see what this menu is like. So here we go. This is where we have the eggs and the chicken seasoning. And this is the garlic mashed potatoes that Dr. Danny just mentioned. And so this is kind of typical, right?
Certainly is.
Yes, kind of typical. Wow. And so, and one of the things that I would make as a comment about this is some of this is really processed. You know, the Special K cereal, yeah, I know it comes in really handy to bring the texture and everything. But if you take a good look at many of those ingredients, some of them are not really food. And so when we think a little bit about our choices, as Dr. Rick is mentioning, it really gives us something to think about. The seasonings that we use, do they have preservatives? Do they have additives? Do they have items to maintain moisture? Or, you know, just really a tremendous set of questions that we sometimes just have to look at. And I want to say this because we talked about this in our planning. Not everybody's at the same place. So depending on where you are in this process of being healthy and where you are in the process of making healthy choices, start with just one thing. Like Dr. Rick said, plan ahead. So you know there are going to be 5 pies. You say, okay, you picture the pies in your mind and you make a decision. I am only going to have the apple pie this year. And you plan ahead. And so that really helps a lot. So that is that would be my contribution to just taking a look at the quality of the food. But also there's something about the timing of the food that that we've looked at before. When is a good time to have this Thanksgiving meal? 6 o'clock in the evening, 7 o'clock in the evening?
Yeah, we did talk about that, and I think it's really, really, really important to understand that the body is better suited in the morning actually, from let's say 6 a.m. to maybe around 1 or 2 p.m. to have heavy food. From after 2 p.m., 3 p.m. onward, you're talking lighter foods. So our culture has turned all the health things upside down. And so we basically do everything the opposite of what we used to do 100 and some years ago. Everybody ate a heavy breakfast, right? Breakfast was seen as the most important meal. Most people were farmers, so that wasn't a problem for them. They ate heavier meals in the morning. But if you're eating that kind of food 6, 7 o'clock at night, that food is not going to finish processing for hours and hours, especially if you overeat and you eat the wrong mixture of foods. And so that's going to disturb your sleep. You're going to feel uncomfortable. Your stomach is going to be griping at you. So it's just, even with the entrees, a Special K loaf, like you said, is highly processed. Even the seasoning with the McKay's chicken seasoning, the one that they usually sell the most of is not a vegan product. Even though they do have a vegan one. So it's sort of like 1,000 little cuts. If you don't make good decisions about your holiday meals, you get 1,000 little cuts.
Okay, it's good? Okay.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And one of the questions that I have, Dr. Danny, I hope I'm not stepping ahead, but when the time changes from daylight saving to standard time or vice versa, is there any kind of an adjustment in terms of our eating habits or even going to bed that we should be aware of to help to optimize our health?
Well, I think that when you think about it, your body isn't necessarily fooled by your changing the clock, right? So that you have to take into consideration that we still need to have our heavier meals earlier. If most people would have their heavier meals around midday or 1 o'clock, that would be far better to do it that time than to have it at 6 or 7 or 8 o'clock, right? And I know for years, my family, we would, my mom and aunts and all the, boy, it'd be 7, 8 o'clock and you're just eating. And then so by the time you finish and everybody's screaming over the game or whatever's on, it can be 8 or 9 o'clock before you say, I'm done, right? So that change of time, we just have to put at the head of our list, learning to make good choices, right? If you're not at a place where you're gonna pick what we would consider an ideal meal, you can still make good choices, like not drinking when you eat, chewing your food thoroughly, limiting your choices. Those are simple things that are mostly a matter of decision, not a matter of you're going to break the bank by doing it, so to speak.
And I appreciate what both of you have brought into the conversation. Twice already I've heard both of you say that different people are at different stages in their transformation, in their knowledge of becoming healthier. And so I want to pivot a little bit to this factor, the sense of the will and morality. How does that come into play? I don't want to feel guilty, right? But maybe in preparation for the meal that's to come, maybe I can be saying to myself, you know what? Lord, this is your temple. I want to keep it healthy for you. Is there any intersection between morality and maybe even taking this into consideration about health and the season?
I think that it's going to surprise most people that the interplay between what are moral issues with God about around holidays and eating, the middle ground is our habits, right? Because our day-to-day choices inform our habits. And so what we do habitually dictates what our character is. So basically, ask that question a different way. Is it important that my character be reflective of good things, even when it comes to my health? That's the same question, just asked in a different way.
All right. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Could
We
you
want to
re-
hear now from, oh, sorry, Michael, go ahead.
No, I'm just wondering if he could repeat that. I don't know. I hope I didn't catch you off guard.
I
Just-
was saying basically this, that we tend to isolate our lives, right? So we think of what I do and then, my will, but what is your willpower over? It's willing yourself to do better things. And by the constancy of what you do, that creates habits. So the moral power that you're developing is one of choosing to do better things. And so another way of asking the same question that was posed is, do I want to have better, my character reflecting the things that are best for my health? Because the things that I do on a daily basis determine my character. They are the habits that mold my character, even when it comes to eating. And I think on the last month's program, we had 1 Corinthians 10:31, whether you eat or drink or whatever you do it to honor God, right? Do it to God's glory. So my doing things to God's glory, I have to make better choices about what I do. My habits need to change.
Excellent. Excellent.
Thank you.
We want to bring in now some of our team members, and I have a question for Yolanda. Yolanda, are you there?
Yes, sir. I'm here.
Wonderful. Some people may not know, but Yolanda is from Colombia. And as we think about the season and think about Thanksgiving, I'm wondering if there are some things that come to mind with Yolanda's experience coming from Colombia and now being here in America. Or maybe she's thinking about her family, right? Maybe she has family members back in Colombia who may, this whole discussion of health may be new to them and they want to try and change their habits, so to speak. Yolanda, do you have anything to share?
Yes, I have something to share about my family and my habits. Talking about food, And when I go to Colombia, my family used to laugh of my way to eat, because I changed my diet. And my niece was visiting us 1 month ago. And she saw the way what we were eating was different than how they eat in Colombia. And surprising, for me was when she get back to Colombia, she said to me, Auntie, I decided to change my diet.
Mm.
I'm eating more vegetable, fruit, and I'm changing the white rice for the brown rice. For her, that was a big challenge to eat brown rice before. But when she was here, she tasted and she said, oh, this is really, really, the taste is good. And now she is changing that rice. And she's drinking, she told me, Auntie, I'm drinking green juice every day because I can see the difference in my body. I can see the difference in my weight. You know, she is
Wow.
losing weight and she is so happy. And I want to tell you, we can spend all life telling people, change your diet, eat this way, in this way, because it's better for you. They don't understand the example is the best way to bring our family, our neighbors to this style of eating. That is my testimony.
Oh, thank you so much, Yolanda. We appreciate that. And yes, it does make a big impact on us when we actually can see and even feel the changes in our bodies. That gives more evidence, more support for why we do this, right?
And Pastor, you mentioned something, and you say, what is the most important thing? What we put inside or exercising? Listen, my niece was exercising every day, and she didn't see the change in her body.
Mm.
But now she is changing what she is eating. She can see it and she can feel it too.
That's phenomenal because it really is about a balance, isn't it?
That's correct.
It's really about the whole lifestyle, and food is a major part of that, especially because there's so many choices that we can make with that, as with exercise, as with water, how much water we drink. I mean, everything comes down to basically a lifestyle. And the idea of making that decision ahead of time, but sometimes we need a trigger. Sometimes we need a good example, right, Yolanda? We need somebody who is doing it already and to inspire me. Yes, it can be done, and there are people that are actually doing it. And one of the things that I've found to be extremely helpful is 2 meals a day as opposed to 3, and intermittent fasting. And I know Don Hall was the one that introduced that to me just a few years ago, just maybe 3-4 years ago, as a thing to do for health optimization. The body has the chance to clean itself, to rest from the digestive process. And we can drink a lot of water in between. And, you know, it's just really so incredible that I have more mental alertness, more physical energy just from that alone. Just being able to take my breakfast somewhere between 10 and 11 o'clock in the morning and going all the way till the afternoon, till about 4 o'clock in the afternoon and I have a big meal in the morning, like Dr. Rick said, where I have most of my protein and my nutrients at that time. And then in the evening, I have a very simple salad, maybe a tiny piece of sweet potato to go with that, but a lot of greens, cauliflower or broccoli, you know, that kind of light meal in the evening. And I sleep so much better. I wake up so much more refreshed in the morning. And to make that a habit, I've been doing that now for quite a few years. And I just want to say if that's the one thing you could do, just 2 meals a day, space it out so you have 4 or 5 hours at least between the meals, and you will feel so much different. You will also find that the time of day, as Dr. Rick said earlier, does make a difference. It was just a couple of weeks ago. I decided to have something in the evening. It was a smoothie, if you would. A smoothie at 8 o'clock at night. And I had a rough night. So it's not about the heavy Thanksgiving meal that we have, that we're blaming it on. Sometimes it's just the time that we had this heavy meal. And so a smoothie at 7 o'clock or 8 o'clock in the evening was detrimental for me. And so I learned from that. And the following week, I love to have delicious smoothies, not necessarily doing it for health, but just absolutely delicious. I make almonds, carrots, dates, a little piece of ginger, and sometimes I add a little oat milk to that. And boy, when I do that at 5 o'clock in the evening, it doesn't bother me. So if somebody out there is willing to try something like that, and we love to hear from you, what are you willing to try? Are you willing to try more water and have enough to keep the body hydrated? Are you willing to cut that one extra donut out? Instead of having 2 donuts a day, how about 1 or half a donut instead of a whole one? What are you willing to do? Because you know, most of us here know exactly what we need to do that's different.
That's right.
We just haven't made the decision to do it. So let me get off of my soapbox, but I thought just mentioning those items might encourage someone to step out and make a small change to be more healthy.
Thank you, Dale. And that's one of the things that we aim to do here at these meetups. We want to make sure that you understand that we do want you to be healthier tomorrow than you were today. So don't be afraid to challenge yourself. You know, I don't want to not have time for questions and answers. And so if Barry is there, we have a video that helps to explain a bit more of how you can connect with us and where you can reach us for things like prayer or questions, and to see what's coming up next time. So Barry, is that video ready for us?
We're thrilled that you're attending this edition of your Natural Health Meetup. In between our monthly sessions, you can stay connected with us in as many as 3 easy ways. Our Facebook group has our live as well as archived videos along with other natural health updates and a place to post your questions. Our Natural Health Learn and Share Meetup site has announcements, reminders, and messages for you, and also our confidential requests for prayer page. We love to pray for you and any concerns of life that you may have. Use the link on the screen to stay connected for any one of these or all 3.
Number of links in the chat window for you. This is designed that you can stay connected with us. If you have a question, it gives you all of our websites, every place that we have a Facebook page, etc. If you'd be so kind to fill out a survey for us to let us know if you are learning and you are being encouraged to make the changes, to be healthier, to make those healthier choices. And certainly our Meetup site where most of you come in, that's a link is there for that. And so all of these links here will help you to stay connected with us. And I do want to tell Dr. Danny, I do have a recipe to share.
Before we get that recipe, one of the young men from my class asked a question when we were talking about when is the last time one should eat. And so I don't know if anyone wants to tackle that. What time is a good time to stop eating for the day? Is it based on how much you've eaten? Is it based on the quality of food you've eaten, or is it based on circadian rhythm, the rhythm of the body, and the body just knows I need X number of hours before I rest? You're muted, Dr. Rick. There you go.
Mostly, it's about our being in sync with the rhythms of the earth, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, when it turns dark outside, your body makes certain hormones. When the sun comes up, it stops making those hormones and makes other hormones, right? We are literally connected to the rhythms of the earth.
Wow.
And so our body, particularly the pancreas, its main job is to put out digestive enzymes, okay, to help us digest our food. And that's a long story too, but it's kind of calling it a night by, 7:30 at the latest, stretching it to 8 o'clock. It's saying, look, I don't know what you're doing, but I'm turning it in right now. So that is going to be food that just sits there if you do not stop early enough. And Mike, Brother Dale was talking about, the intermittent fasting. You want to have at least 13 to 16 hours of fasting time between when you go to bed or when you stop your last meal and when you break the fast the next day. If you wait too long, that can be somewhat detrimental, especially if you have, some chronic issues. But you want, for the most part, you want to give yourself 13 to 16 hours to be able to clear your gut. There's something called the migrating motor complex, which is a mechanism that only comes into play sweeping out trash, sweeping out excess bits of food, but it only comes to play when you don't keep putting food in your gut, in your stomach, and in your gut. If you keep doing it, it won't clean.
And we've had programs where we talked about the digestion and the need for regular bowel movements. And so thank you for sharing that very much. Brother Dale, I'm wondering, can we have that recipe, that menu, after the Q&A? I'd like to hear from some of the audience what their thoughts are and their questions. Would that be okay with you?
Absolutely, sure. Yeah.
All right. So this is the time for us to ask questions. If you want to open your mics and maybe even show your faces, we'd love to take questions now. From our illustrious audience.
Feel free
Some of you, I see you. Go ahead.
I was saying, just feel free to put them in chat as well.
Yes. So I see some names like Rosita and Fabi, maybe, and Ruth, and I see some numbers, right? 112909 and maybe Galaxy S10. Or Elena or Melanie. All right. Okay.
Hello.
Gabriel?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
I think it was Mr. Campbell that said we should target to eating only 2 meals a day, and I was kind of curious on like what 2 meals should that be? Should that be breakfast and dinner or lunch and dinner? I'm kind of confused on which ones we should be eating.
Now, before you answer that, let me give you some background. This was a young man from my class as well, Gabriel, and he's an athlete, very good athlete. And so in considering your answer, understand he burns a lot of energy.
Yeah, I let Rick go ahead with that, even though I said it. The intermittent fasting is definitely a principle. I don't know for young people how that applies if they're still growing, but I know it works extremely well for adults.
Yeah, I think that what you need to think about is how your activity is. You still breakfast really ideally is your biggest meal. So you kind of do a declining wedge. Breakfast is the heaviest meal, lunch is a moderate meal, and then uh, if you have something in the later afternoon, then you do that something like fruits or smoothie. Now, my my suggestion to most people is instead of trying to match somebody else's habit, what you want to do is create your own habit. So if you are not in the habit of eating breakfast, if you cheat on lunch and you just eat ragged lunch, and then you come home and you're starved and you eat for dinner or you eat fast foods, start by building habits, okay? If you can't eat a heavy breakfast, eat something moderate so that you get yourself used to eating a breakfast. Then eat a moderate lunch and make sure it's not fast foods. Sorry, McDonald's. Um, and then have a light lunch. Start with building habits. So if you are an athlete and you're doing a lot, then maybe you're loading at a certain time before your practice or after your practice. Okay, so just plan what is going to be the best thing for me given that I'm very active. So you need to start planning out. I'm going to have some in the morning. I'm going to have a good lunch. Even if I have to bring my lunch and make sure it's healthy, then I can just use things in after practice a little later to refuel and build with fruit and carbs and things like that that are whole carbs, not complex carbs. You want complex carbs, not junk food. So start with building habits. Start with planning, hey, I'm going to make this good decision. Hydrate yourself. When you wake up in the morning, make sure you drink water. First thing in the morning. That is so important. It sweeps the bowels. It sweeps that so that your bowels are ready to cleanse themselves. That is critically important because you've gone all night without water for most people. So just start by building good habits, and the timing of your meals is going to depend on the activity of your life, but you can still eat two heavier meals, morning and lunch, and then a light something. If you are still active and want a little something, then just do something light, but you're making sure that it's not late at night when you're eating.
Great answer. Great answer. Thank you. I see Elena has opened her screen, and I think Rosita has unmuted herself. So let's have Elena and then Rosita. Do you have a question as well? All right,
Is
possible.
that Elena or? Okay.
Yeah, you'll be after Elena.
Okay.
Hello. So, I just wanted to ask if you have noticed like any specific foods or like eating patterns that can either like have a positive or negative like impact in your like ability to sleep well.
Okay. So sleeping is a multifactorial thing. So sleeping depends mostly on what condition your gut is in, believe it or not. If the bacteria in your gut is not well balanced, then you'll find yourself not sleeping through the night, waking up early in the morning and you can't get back to sleep, or having a fitful sleep. So that's another reason for not eating late. You want to give your body a chance to clear itself and get the bacterial problem. So if you identified sleeping as one of your problems, then maybe there's some different herbs, if you use different herbs or different things, supplements that can help kind of quiet your and rebalance the bacteria in your gut. And I guarantee you, once you do that, you will sleep like a baby. It will be so wonderful if you get the bacteria in your gut right. And then practical things, drink your water earlier. Don't wait till an hour, 5 minutes before you go to bed to drink a gallon of water. You will be up, right? So don't wait to do that. And then the other thing is, don't watch television till the last minute. Turn off the television, turn off the internet. Just prepare your mind to go to sleep and relax and rest. And if your gut is right and your mind is at ease, boy, you'll sleep like a baby.
Just clarifying her question for you, Dr. Rick. So are you saying that you haven't discovered majorly any foods specific that can affect? It's more so the timing?
No, well, I think for most people, it's bacteria in their gut and timing. But if you want a food that will help you sleep, okay, you write this down. You get sweet cherries or tart cherries. They are rich in melatonin. And I find that for most people, about 10 cherries is gonna just make you sleepy.
All right.
10 to 12 cherries, you're gonna be like, oh my goodness, what's happening to me? You know, and I tried that and I got on a kick of eating it. And man, I would just sleep wonderfully. Either I tried sweet cherries, they work really well. I tried tart cherries, they work really well. And I even got frozen ones, let them thaw, and then ate them, they still work. So things like that are full of melatonin, which helps you sleep.
Unfortunately, the young man Cameron isn't here. He might have asked the question, so can I eat a whole cherry pie?
Unfortunately, when you heat the cherries, you destroy the good elements. They still taste good, but you don't get the benefits.
Thank you for joining us, Rosita.
Okay. I leave for work at 6:15 every morning. So my breakfast is not the greatest. Sometimes I may have a cream cheese sandwich, the plant-based, and maybe something hot to drink. And then for lunch, then I'll eat a heavy meal. And then for supper, I will figure out what to eat. Sometimes I do cereal, fruits. So I know it's not the best diet that I have. So probably someone can. Mike visited us. Mike, you remember you visited us some time ago?
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
And you made a smoothie and you put in sweet potato.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And you said that would keep you for most of the day.
Yeah, a little bit of, yeah.
And I think you had oats and different things in there. So maybe, sometimes I do smoothie, but I haven't put in the sweet potato yet. But maybe that's something that I'll try that will keep me longer than, having to eat a big meal at midday because I didn't have much in the morning. And they said morning meal is the best, should be the best.
Yeah, I think that's when you leave the house that early, that is where habits and everything really collide, right?
Yeah.
Because there's nothing stopping you from getting up at 3 o'clock in the morning and having your breakfast. It's just a matter of what you choose to prioritize. And there's nothing wrong with that, but you want to plan that, okay, perhaps now, and this is a convenience food, but it's reasonably healthy. There's a product called Just Egg. You can have a Just Egg sandwich with this and that and the other, just building your way towards a heavier breakfast, that even something you can take as a convenience, right? So you can have Just Egg and a small salad and say, okay, I'm gone. And then that way, you're not letting your blood sugars elevate. Most people don't realize what makes you hungry is the insulin levels rising. That's what makes you hungry. So that stimulates your body to say, oh, I want to eat. And, leptin and ghrelin levels, these are other hormones that play on that. But the big driver for most people is insulin. Yeah. So just by planning, you can plan your way to a better health. And before you know it, you'll be smiling even bigger than you are.
And she does have a wonderful smile.
Yeah.
Rosita, one of the things that I think about beyond intention, well, it has to do with intentionality. So when I used to do landscape back in college, we had to get up very early in the morning. And so for me, I would set my breakfast up before I go to bed that night. So that way I know when I wake up what I have to do in preparation for my 5 o'clock departure, to work. But just being intentional, planning ahead, like we've shared.
Yeah, and I do use the Just Eggs sometimes.
Oh, wonderful.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, I do. Mm-hmm.
And don't be shy to be different. Because there was quite a few years, in fact, I would literally have my dinner, my rice and peas and whatever, for my breakfast.
I did that too.
And it was amazing. I got that day started, and it would take me all the way till 2 p.m. in the afternoon before I was even feeling a little hunger. And so just because the cultural norms are saying we have a sip of this and a bite of something and leave, we could actually sit down for 15 or 20 minutes and actually have a solid meal.
Yeah, that's what I do. I think if I sent you pictures, which I take often, of what I eat for breakfast, most people would be scared because it's a full meal.
Mm.
Yeah.
There's a question in chat. Do I need to take the cherries before it gets dark outside? You spoke about melatonin and
just a technical note. Usually when people take like melatonin supplements, right? They are taking melatonin that is not what they call methylated. So your body has to prepare to receive those things and process those things. Usually your brain needs to have a certain type of magnesium to process melatonin, okay? So the beautiful thing about cherries are that they are already, seemingly to me, methylated because it works no matter what. So
body receives it faster.
Yeah, body is ready to receive it, and you don't have to wait till it gets dark. You can eat it. I used to eat mine. Sometimes I would eat right at bed or right before, a little before I'm going to bed or something. But I had eaten it earlier and it still does the trick.
Wonderful.
That is fascinating. Well, one of the things that I have used fairly successfully for sleeping is lying down, putting my hands on my stomach, and breathing deeply. And many times, it doesn't work every single time, but quite often when my body feels like it wants to wake up at 3 a.m. and I do that, I'm able to get enough relaxation with the breathing, my hands open like this on my stomach. And it just, next thing I know, it's several hours later. Yeah. So it's something that, and I find also, you don't want to drink too close to bedtime, like Dr. Rick said, but you definitely want to have the body hydrated well, because that hydration also helps with the sleep. And so if you say the last good swig of water, could be 6 p.m. or 7, and you're going to bed at 9 or 9:30, that should be enough time to get most of the liquid out. And wow, it really works well to be hydrated as well.
All right.
Yeah, but listen to your body as well, because sometimes, for whatever reason, sometimes I just haven't gotten enough water in for the day, and I'm just thirsty. And for me, I'll just go ahead and drink the water. It's like, you got me. And most of the time I can still sleep through. I don't have a serious problem with it, but there are times when I just need that water. And you don't want to, that will wake you up really if you are not well hydrated.
That's just so right. So in chat, Melanie also put, I also heard the banana before bed helps one sleep.
So banana has tryptophan in it. That's what most people look at, is the tryptophan content, which is a precursor to making melatonin and all of that. So yeah, that could help relax you, but a banana has a fair amount of protein, which is not going to be processed. So you want to eat a banana earlier than, I would not recommend that at bedtime.
Kind of like the turkey effect with the tryptophan, right?
Right, exactly.
And most people have some turkey and then they fall asleep with it.
Right. Whereas the turkey's tryptophan has been processed already.
Interesting. Wow. Well, so Dr. Danny.
Yeah, I think it's time for you to share your recipe then.
Yeah. So this is an experiment that I tried twice now, and I would have to say it's great. Those people who go to my church actually didn't see it like this, but this is a lentil cauliflower casserole, and I made the second version of it today, and this is the picture that I took earlier this afternoon.
Looks delicious. Look at Rosita taking a picture already.
Yeah, and it's lentil cauliflower. The entire recipe is on this page, and so I'll share the link for it. But really, it's cauliflower and just some seasoning with it. I did add some honey, or you can use date syrup as part of a little punch on the florets of the cauliflower. And the lentils, cook them normally, but things that I added in there are coconut milk. Try to get, if you're using cans, try to get cans that don't have any of the plastic lining with BPA and BPS. That helps to minimize the toxins that are coming from the cans. If you're cooking with high heat, recommended not to use olive oil, but some oils that will be able to not have a smoking point, even at high temperatures. I use cumin seeds, mustard seeds, and
Can I make one comment, Mike?
Oh yeah, please. Yeah.
Oil.
Yeah.
You'll see a lot of people say, "Oh, olive oil will work for that anyway," but what they're not distinguishing is extra virgin olive oil has a low smoke point, whereas regular olive oil, which has been somewhat processed, has a higher smoke point.
Okay, very good to know. Very good to know.
But not as high as avocado oil.
Well, you're right, yeah. And this particular recipe is subject to high heat in the oven. And then there's a mango pickle. Make sure you get, if you find it, with no preservatives. They have quite a few that do have. And this is, I asked Dr. Rick about this, and he said, well, it's okay for the holidays. I don't know what that really meant, but this is this is just like mozzarella. It melts pretty much like cheese. It's all plant-based. And then I think I have a misspelled here, so let me fix that. And so that's the preparation of lentils, the cauliflower and lentils. These are the instructions here. But when you get down here, I have pictures of the items specifically that you may not be familiar with: cumin seeds, avocado oil, and so on. And so you have this here. And I'm going to put the link in chat for you. But I will tell you that we got rave reviews at our church this last weekend. And wow, it didn't look anywhere near as beautiful as this. I added today the pomegranate seeds. Feel free to use cranberries as well. But after you've roasted the cauliflower, you put the lentils underneath and then stick the little stems of the cauliflower florets into it, and then it gives you this really nice presentation. So let me get that link for you. I'm going to get that link right here. So that's the cauliflower recipe. Take that and go ahead and try it. Let us know how well it comes out. But the whole point of this, you can have a delicious, delicious meal that is super healthy, because there's nothing in here that will cause a significant amount of dangerous inflammation. You will have very low inflammatory index in this particular preparation, and hope that you enjoy the holidays.
Well, thank you so much for sharing. I look forward to coming up with new creative menus myself this season. Friends, we want to thank you so much for being with us this evening. It's time for us to transition. We'll be having a closing prayer, and after that, we'll be putting off the recording so that we can have our mixer. Our mixer, as I mentioned before, is a time when we just sit back and have an open discussion, just like we were having a discussion in our backyard at a barbecue or over the fence or at a lake. And so we do encourage you to stay, but if you do leave, we understand. Any other words, Michael, before we have closing prayer?
Yeah, no, I think that's good. That's perfect.
All right, let's bow our heads for prayer, shall we? Lord God, we've had a good chat today, and we pray that our conversation has been invigorating and inspiring for someone who's on their journey of transformation in the area of health. We want to remember, Lord, that health is much more than just fitness. Health is much more than just what we put in our mouths. It's also what we put in our minds and our eyes and our hearts. And so, Lord, help us to continue the healing that you have begun at the cross. Thank you so much for the participants. And we pray that as we go from this place, we will go seeking to be healthier than we were today. This is our prayer in the name of Jesus. Amen.
Amen. Yeah, so I should have mentioned that it's the second Tuesday in December. That will be the 12th of December. That will be our next natural health meetup. Plan on being here because we'll be able to continue sharing and learning from you as well.